Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so the ATM at the 7-Eleven didn't take the GR ATM, so I got to go down about 10 minutes down to a street called Chateau where I'll be able to use that ATM to get the rest of the money that I need. So at least I know next time if I'm going to take GR money, the 7-Eleven ATM ain't going to take it. But it ain't one too far away, so yeah, man, I feel good, man. It's just windy out here, but not too cold. It's a nice, warm, windy. And I don't see any rain clouds above, so it looks like it'll just be this. Not so bad. Hope you guys can hear me, though. But, yeah, man, there's no bad vibes. I made some very, very good therapy sessions. This one that I had just walking into the 7-Eleven, I thought was pretty good. Helping me just understand, man, what I want to do with my energy in regards to my friend Kay. So I'm reaching a peaceful space there. You know, she's a wonderful friend of mine. I would love for it to be something better, something more special. I've been feeling strongly about her for a long time, but you know, it's just one of those situations where through my mental health and through my nonsense of my life, I just have not been able to reach into a space where I'm a viable candidate to be her man. Not at all. Without a car, without a job, mental health stuff, not being anywhere near her. I just think that we've gotten to a space where, you know, I just gotta get those things in order and stop looking at her to wait on me to do so. Maybe, I don't know if that's I don't know. I really don't know, but the dream that I had last night kind of lent itself to me needing to move on from her, and coupled with how things have been going lately, maybe she feels the same way. I don't know. Maybe she's doing it like the dream is telling me. So I'm just trying to read the signs and just not force nothing. You know, I can be sad, but I ain't no sense in making things worse. That's what I tell myself. My mother told me something. I don't think it necessarily applies to this, but it's somewhere in the ballpark. If something is bad for breakfast, it's going to be spoiled for lunch and it's going to be rotten for dinner. And while I don't think we're spoiled or bad, I do think that if it ain't fitting, or if it's not quite what she wants, if it isn't a seamless process or whatever that is defined as, then at some point in time, I just got to stop putting my heart all into that dream and let the Lord do something else if that's what he wants to do. Because it doesn't seem like it's a seamless thing for her to try to be in my life. Communicating with me is a bit difficult sometimes. She doesn't always want to really talk like that. So it's like maybe she prefers me as a friend, attractive friend, you know what I mean? And maybe I want more from her than just to be that. So as it's set up, man, I want to get to a point where I'm healing. Maybe the closure of what it is that I want to help me along the way ain't coming. Maybe I'm never going to be able to know exactly what she wants from me or what I can get from her or whatever the best way to describe that would be. But one thing's for sure, the sadness that comes with her being hot and cold, I'm really, really ready for that to be something that the Lord can help me through completely so that I don't feel that no more. She can do her thing without our friendship falling apart. I just got to get my feelings out the way. And so that's what I'm understanding at this moment. Trying to be that person that I need to be on my side of the fence, so I'm not making things any more frustrating for her in regards to myself, and any more frustrating for me in regards to myself as well, you know, and how I'm reacting to what she does naturally. So hopefully the Lord will bless me with what it is that's best for me in that process, so I don't have to keep on looking to her to be something that is not coming naturally for her to become while I'm in this space. And so that's what I'm saying to all of you guys, you know what I mean? I'm keeping my faith. I'm a believer in God. It's through him that I'm able to kind of come to certain conclusions. If I didn't have my faith, I'm pretty sure I'd be making things worse with my energy, making things worse with what I'd be saying on this camera. But to be honest with you, I just have a lot of accountability for where my life is not at, for how I haven't had my mind right to do certain things to offset what it would be otherwise options in my life or whatever, that often give people leverage in situations that I haven't allowed myself. You know, not leverage against her, but leverage against my own feelings. You're dating multiple people while you're not in a relationship. Got this buddy, that buddy to hang out with. This job, that opportunity. Very regular stuff that people my age would probably have if they're single. I just haven't allowed into my life because of how I'm wired. And so, given that is the case, I just think it's ultimately best that I just try to figure out what the Lord wants me to do, not necessarily start jumping into stuff like that for myself, but more so to ask Him to help me through feeling something for her that she does not feel for me, or feeling something for her that's not welcome in her life, that is making it so that I'm not messing up, in her life, not ruining the friendship by being this way, And so to a part of me felt like that's what the consequences are showing me. And so I'm ready to right that wrong if at all possible. And so that's what I'm here to tell you guys, I guess. I don't necessarily think that's the only thing on my mind, to be honest with you. What's also on my mind is my stomach. It hurts, and it's not a stomach ache like bad food, but I found a new way to work my abs. It's higher push-ups. If you put your push-ups, you do your push-ups on the ground, you put your palms above your ears. It's an awkward thing, but you're gonna get all kinds of a stretch in your stomach and in your chest area. And so I can have more advanced push-ups since I've been doing more of them. I worked myself up into a resistance where every time I get down there, I'm doing about 75. So now it's time to do some more different types of push-ups. Now that I have the strength to really do them, it's time to start turning them into diamonds, turning them into lower or higher. And when I was experimenting with the higher, I realized I felt a pull in my stomach that I hadn't felt in a long time. And I'm like, yo, if this is gonna give me the abs I've been looking for, that will work. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, and put my palms up above my head, above my ears, above my head, and doing push-ups that way definitely helps the stomach area. And that is something that I never actually thought would be the case. So yeah, I figured I'd share that with y'all. That's what's actually on my mind. I feel a great deal of peace from just understanding that regardless of what it is that I've been thinking, things are more or less in God's hands. And as I move as a man of God, I gotta let Him take over certain things that otherwise I've been holding on to as my faith has been growing. Your faith get to a certain point, it ain't in your best interest to keep acting as if you don't know what He's already proven will be carried over into new areas. He's already proven that He got my back, given the fact that I have what I need to pay for this hotel, when it didn't look like it was going to be that. He got me through that when I found myself in circumstances where I had to leave my house, my apartment, for the first time in almost a year to address something very stressful because I was being served papers. Or every time I had to go to the courtroom, even in circumstances where I had to leave my belongings underneath the stairs here at this hotel overnight while I left the area. I trusted God to take care of it. He did. And so these are the type of things that just help you understand, like, look, if you trust Him in those situations, how about you give Him a chance in these situations? Give Him a chance in a situation like this, where you don't necessarily know how He's going to heal your heart for what it is that's going on, but you can trust that because He's proven Himself in that area, that He can prove Himself in this one too. So that's what it is on this Sunday morning. I'm trying to walk down to a different ATM because the one ATM that I went to didn't allow me to have my card. But because of it, I get to have this conversation with you all about what God is doing in my life and helping me understand that I don't have to have so much doubt placed upon what happens if I don't do certain things. If I don't do this, then I'm not gonna get that. If I hold on to this, maybe I can keep that from going bad. It's like, no, you let that go bad because you thinking that's gonna go bad is not gonna be defined as bad at all. It's just what you think it's gonna be if you don't hold on to it. What's bad is you holding on to it. What's bad is you not letting God take care of that process. That's what's bad. Not that you are going to lose your chance at a squeeze if you sell your shares, but that you won't allow the Lord to let him do that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't letting the Lord sell my shares, because what? You don't even know how much time you got left on this earth. If he wants you to sell or hold, then damn it, that's what you're gonna do. I'm not gonna let the Lord, I gotta convey everything on my heart to my friend, because if I don't, she ain't gonna understand. Yeah, she will. Or maybe it's not meant for her to understand, or maybe it's just meant for you to let her go, period. All these different things that I wasn't letting God do. I call myself a man of God, but when it came to that, I ain't believe in him. It's the truth. When it came to this conversation, I ain't believing. I believe him in other stuff, but when it comes to this, nah. When it comes to this, I gotta stay in control, because when it comes to this, he ain't got no control. It's like, well, that's where you're messing up right there. That's where you're messing up right there. You gotta let him control that too, because if you let him control that too, then you'll find out that he can do great things from within your submission in this particular area, especially when it's one of weakness where your faith is otherwise needed. And so my friend Kay, I prayed a lot about that situation, but rarely did I trust God in that situation. Because if I didn't stay close, this, and this wouldn't manifest. It's like, this ain't gonna manifest because you're trying to remove God from it and take over in your own mind. Like, if I don't stay close to her, she's not gonna understand this. She's probably gonna go sway in a different direction. That girl had God before you got there. She's gonna have him when you leave. What if something happens to you? Would you just worried it's not gonna work out with her? Like, don't let that be a reason you don't set certain boundaries for how you feel like you need to be treated. Don't, or if I tell her this, she's not gonna respect that. I'll let God handle that. Because if you let him handle that, then you understand that through your allowance of him to handle that, greater things will happen than what it is that you're trying to protect against. So that's the type of stuff that he's been doing in my life lately. It's like, all right, these little hindrances that you don't trust me in, these little areas you don't trust me in, guess what's happening in those areas? The enemy is attacking you in those areas. Those are the specific areas that he's been able to make you sad, make you distracted, and ultimately course you into stuff that otherwise you ain't got no business being in. Those are the areas where he has control over you, friend. It ain't that you don't have the right idea, maybe. Heck, maybe what it is that you're doing, I might go back and tell you to do. But as long as you're not involving me in it, that's where he comes through. And that's what the Lord has helped me understand when it comes to my friend Kay. And that's been the hardest one, because it's like, oh, I want this to go a certain way. I got to communicate. I got to be in her inbox. I can't live with myself if I can't speak enough of my thoughts to her, or whatever type of stuff I was feeling. If she ain't around, then it's the worst. I'm feeling down. If she is around, then I'm feeling great. Like, you got to let God have all of that, friend. Because if you don't let him have that, that's going to be the things that the enemy's going to be doing to you. He's going to take her away. You're going to be sad, and he's going to be able to work with that. He's going to bring her back just to let you down again when he takes her away again. It's like, nah, let God have that. And so that's what the Lord has been showing me, man. I'm afraid she's going to fall for somebody else. She's going to end up with somebody else. And that's exactly what she needs. You ain't in a space where you can control that at all. So why are you not trusting God when it comes to that? That's what I had to ask myself. You ain't controlling that. That girl ain't around you at all. If she's being with somebody else, she messing with somebody else, that's exactly what the Lord wanted her to do. And if it ain't what she's supposed to be doing, then guess what? God gonna teach her a lesson independent of you. You ain't got no place to say what she should and should not be doing based on you, my friend, not actually having your way. You ain't gonna ever have your way in somebody else's life. He ain't gonna control nobody. He ain't gonna about to just have her be completely away from all things around her and all the opportunities she may have in her own life just because you sent her a couple words and she responded to them. You gotta let God to take care of that for yourself so that you don't hurt yourself into letting that get you down. And so that's what it was, and I was letting all of those different things that may or may not be the case, not wanting to have real conversations, which probably didn't bring me no closer to the girl. Being afraid if she tell me this, I'm gonna break my heart, and then I'm not gonna be able to focus. If she tell me that, like that type of stuff was just in my mind. And as it was in my mind, I was doing things the wrong way. instead of setting precedents for, hey, this is who I really am, I was setting a bar for who I was not. Essentially letting her think that everything she did didn't bother me at all. And when you let somebody think that you're something you're not, you let somebody think that everything they do is fine, that's going to be exactly what they're going to be appreciative of. And when you start showing them that you actually are tripping, it's not that they're going to see, oh, okay, this person's different. They're going to see this person's a liar because he wasn't who he painted himself out to be. They're like, that wasn't my intention. I just couldn't handle it. But that's not the problem. It's that I could have handled it. I could have been exactly what I told her I was. I just had to let God in to control that for which I wasn't allowing him to take over. She was always going to make her own decisions with her own life, her own whatever the case. She was always going to feel the need to either speak to me or not speak to me as she saw fit. Nothing that I had in my head in regards to not wanting to tell her what bothered me or didn't bother me, oversharing in certain situations where I couldn't compel myself not to for sake of not having the Lord there. All of that did nothing for our friendship. It did nothing for what it is that ultimately made me better in the friendship. It did nothing for improving upon her understanding who I was so that she could either choose to like the real me or not. It was just setting a precedent that I was free flowing and most importantly didn't want to stand on nothing. She could have been testing me in certain situations to see if I was going to actually let some stuff slide, and I would have just let it slide just because that was the intent. Because any little resistance that I put up, I was concerned was going to push her away. And it was the lack of being willing to put that resistance up that probably did push her away. And so it's like, man, you set the wrong precedent with people you love very much and you're going to end up losing them. Not to say that I'm certain that's what happened, but I'm certain that it's possible based on what it is that I'm seeing. You know, man, got to stand on something, and most importantly, you can't wait. Have everything loaded up in your heart, and then when something goes a certain way, you load it all up. You just send it all out at once. That's what I did. And I didn't set no real precedent. I just said, you know what, I'm going to hold this, harbor this in my feelings, and when it comes out, it's going to come out in the worst way, and that's what it did. It came out in the worst damn way. When she needed it not to, and what did that do? Probably put her in a position to see me differently and thus pushed her further away. It's like, man, if I'd have just been saying this stuff on the jump as soon as she did anything that maybe made it not have made it make me feel good, I could have said, yo, this ain't it. I could at least have nipped it in the bud before I got this far into it, or would have painted a picture of her understanding, and maybe he gonna tell me something I don't like, but at least I know. And now it's like I'm not getting communication from her in certain situations for me to know. And it's like, well, you set that example. And maybe you should have been setting the example that communication was needed up front by way of your actions so that you could have received that on your end. So it's like, it's a lot of things I look back on and say, I set the wrong precedent. I probably didn't allow myself to be respected because of it. And now, if anything pushed her away, it was probably that lack of respect for the man that I did not point myself out to be. I didn't paint myself out to be that man. So that's what I think. I think that there's a lack of respect there. And it's partially because I showed her something that wasn't real, which was that I could allow for any and everything that she did to be fine and without me having anything to say about it, even though it may genuinely have hurt. And so it's just something I learned from, like, you don't let that happen, man. You tell people who you are, and you trust them when they tell you who they are. And I think I'm going to have to turn around because I'm pretty sure I came too far down. Pretty damn sure I came too far down. I think partially that was on purpose. So I just felt like I kept talking and kept walking. But, you know, at the end of the day, man, I want people to understand. I've learned a lot from this situation. Even if it wasn't intent for me to learn, a lot from this situation I did. My God showed me that I hadn't set the precedent for respect in a lot of the situations I was in. Self-respect and respect for others was very important, and you got to establish that. You can't let people think things are cool when they're not. You can't, especially if you're a man. I don't believe it works that you just be bendable all the way through. Nobody likes that, man. Nobody likes that. They can't trust it, and it sets an impossible precedent. An impossible precedent to say that I'm going to be cool with whatever you do no matter what you do. And so long as you continue to come my way. It's not going to be particularly attractive most of the time to most women, and it's not going to be effective in regards to you being respected in that woman's life. It don't work, fam. And I know most men know that, but it took me a little while to understand that. I should have been telling her what was bothering me early, so that it didn't blow up in the last minute, so that I didn't let it come out in an emotional way when something were to trigger that. After countless months of never saying that anything bothered me at all, it just helped to know that there's experience in my life to say that did not work. And so I don't know what she would say about this video. She probably wouldn't agree with this, some of this, maybe she wouldn't. But I do think that just kind of drove her into a space where she didn't look at me as a viable candidate to be her dude, or a viable candidate from which to respect, because I was always bendable in regards to what she did or didn't do. And so that's not cool, man. You just gotta, you wanna love somebody, you better show them who you really are. Don't let them think that you're something you're not, only for you to come around and show them that later you're not that. That ain't gonna set no precedent that you can work with at all. Not at all. And so I think I knew that, but I think I needed to go through that to know that even more so, I guess, whatever, however you say that. But, you know, I'm not a pushover. I never was. I was just afraid of losing this particular person to things that I thought that she would not be pleased with and would probably disappear for. And if I thought she would disappear for certain things, then why did I think I was right for her in the first place? That's another thing. If you think somebody ain't right for you, unless you show them things that ain't actually in you, then that part of you that chooses them needs to understand that that's the main thing that you need to understand is not the right thing to choose in regards to them. I gotta be somebody else in order to be with you, and obviously I'm not the person you need me to be. You're not the person I need. Not to say that I'm certain that that's what that was when I look at this situation. I ain't assessed that well enough to say, but I just know that to be the case. And if she only wants you to be rich as hell and you ain't rich as hell, but you putting on the front like you got it, fake it till you make it, when she find out what's really in your account, you're gonna definitely lose that woman. Definitely lose that woman. So it's like, why would you even think that that's the person you should be choosing when you know damn well she ain't gonna choose who you actually are? You know she likes to go on trips and you a homebody. Why the hell you pick her? She gonna want to leave the house well more than you gonna want to be comfortable doing so. Every time you look up, she gonna be gone. Why the hell do you think that's the right woman for you when you need somebody to be in the house all the damn time? It just becomes a situation where you understand that you chose the wrong person because you didn't identify yourself properly in a lot of cases. That's what it really comes down to. You gotta know yourself. You can't just say, oh, I want this person, I want that person. They're going, yeah, because she look a certain way or because I'm too lonely and this person's happening to be pointed at me right now and I don't know if I'm ever find nobody else. That's what a lot of us do, especially the guys of a certain age who are single and ain't got no kids. Oh man, if I don't get this one right, it could be a long time before I find somebody connect with me. Like, yeah, that's true, but if you pick the wrong person, you definitely gonna spend a long time with them that you can't afford to lose. You waste your time either way, but at least with not picking the wrong person, you definitely have an opportunity to find the right person in a given moment. You choose the wrong person, you're gonna be stuck to the wrong person until you get rid of them or they get rid of you. And so these type of things are just understood. You gotta live your life with an understanding of who you are, what you're gonna put up with, and what you like. And so that's what it is I'm trying to get right. As somebody who ain't a player, as somebody who won't have a lot of, bodies in my past, all that, I don't think like that, man. I don't think like that. At the end of the day, I'm always looking for a certain type of connection. And if I happen to find that, I usually hold on to it too hard. Too hard. When my first real girlfriend, it's kind of like that, although I was too young, so I ain't gonna say my first real girlfriend, but my first adult relationship, it was like that. Holding on to her too strong, not establishing myself away from the relationship enough to be respected. She didn't respect me. She loved me, but she did not respect me as a man, and she didn't understand my mental health. We didn't have them type of conversations to say why I was like this. No acknowledgement of mental health. We didn't know it like that. So it was like, you're just procrastinating, you're stagnant. So it was like, I wasn't the right person for her. I might have been a good guy. I might have loved her a lot. I wasn't the right person. And so in this situation, I don't know if this is any different as it pertains to me. Love her a lot, but I ain't the right person for her. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I'm in a space where I'm ready to even say that. Too far into it. But when I zoom out, I just say, man, I didn't set a precedent that even showed her who I really was. I don't even think she really met the real me, because I had a lot of things that she did that I didn't necessarily like, and I never told her. And well, I did end up telling her eventually, but it's too late. And so that's what it is, man. I think my friendship with this person is a bit different, in the sense that it's more spirituality, more prayer, more coincidences in spirituality. Although my adult ex-girlfriend, we had a lot of times where we would have those type of coincidences, like, oh, God is in this. God's trying to keep us together. But this one, with this particular person, my homegirl Kay, it's different in that way. It's a bit more deliberate that the Lord has been working in our lives to help us see Him through each other's eyes in certain things. But that doesn't mean that He had the plan for me that I ultimately was praying it would be. That I ultimately wanted to be. It didn't have to be that. It just meant that He wanted us to see Him through us, through our eyes. Or maybe it was, who knows, whatever the plan is. But the point is, I always hear people say, if something's meant for you, it ain't going to be too hard, it ain't going to be too difficult, it's going to be seamless. And this has not been that. Not at all. There's been a lot of pain attached to her distance. And so I'd imagine if the Lord wanted me to be with this person, I probably wouldn't have too much of a distance from her. I just have to be honest about that. It wouldn't be no where she at, how come she ain't, why she ever, none of that. I don't believe comes with somebody that's meant for me. So I just have to live with that and let the Lord do whatever He's going to do in regards to the situation with me and this person, friendship wise. And to be thankful that if we're not meant for one another, we ain't go too far. I don't have no kids with her. We didn't cross too many boundaries physically or whatever. We didn't cheat on one another and make each other hate one another, nothing like that. In some type of relationship that we didn't establish. It's a lot of stuff that never happened that could have made this so much harder to deal with. God has kind of spared us, if we're not supposed to be with one another, from ever running into it. So it's a lot of ways to look at it, man. Like I said, I'm too far into it to really want to close the door like that. But it just gets to a point where you just have to open the door to that when you have the dream that I had last night. You got to let yourself be okay with things not being right for you, even though you believe in it so much. For the second time and third time in my life in different ways. Believe in something so much and it just ain't. For whatever reason. Maybe it's because of my flaws. Maybe it's because just God had better plans. I don't know. But it just ain't what I want it to be. And so, you get a little tired of that. But you can't let you getting tired of that force you into being in more of that. That's the key. Yeah, I'm tired of that. But that does not mean that I need to be trying to make something that is not supposed to be. So that's what I would have to say to y'all, man. I gotta check out my phone and make sure I'm not walking past the ATM. It might be in the Chevron, it might be across the street or something. So I gotta make sure where I'm headed is in fact not where I'm at. So my name is BDF 44. Thank you for watching.